listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. The volume here seems to be a little bit more amenable. Let me look at this here. It looks like something changed on this from when I said it. Doesn't make them big, makes them corrupt. So again, the way they teach you all to see things is rather corrupt. All right, let's see. Where's the volume? A little bit louder, but that's fine. I had to go into Windows where you can adjust the mic. I don't know why they haven't done that in the front end of Android. Maybe because they do torment people with it and they may be part of that. You got to understand there's parts of your, oops, I didn't mean to do that there. There's parts of your, I don't know why this is not, there's a gray line there that's not supposed to be there. Put it in a background and it won't work. But there's all sorts of things going on in your life where they're preparing you to be a criminal in reality, to be evil in reality, and calling it good and calling it lawful, or in the absence of that, that it's just and somehow, or it's just somehow. Now they say, what about you? Look, we all know what you did to my life. We all know what you did to Jonathan Luna, Dudley, Healy, all deputy U.S. marshals and U.S. attorneys and Justice Department employees to take over the Justice Department and allow people that are less than they should be to become who they shouldn't be. Well, give me a second here. I'm going to reload this and see what it looks like. Okay, let me see here. Okay, yeah, I got my little circle thing back, and that helps me see the volume much better than the other meter. Okay, so the reality is when Ames and Hanston were arrested, they all freaked out because they were actually criminals. They had this thought in their head installed by Russians, and quite honestly, it's truthful. They would not be arrested for anything. So what they did is increase that system over the years until it became all of government. What they're doing is they're saying that they're not that type of person. Why? Because they're brainwashed into believing that if they effectuate honest law enforcement a certain percentage of the time, then it's better than not allowing to be effectuated at all. But they don't have any type of care for the outcome. They have crocodile tears. Well, because they're causing crime. They're causing it physically, which again, if you read it, if you can read it, when it comes out physically, then it's even more so internally. And nothing to do with more, except I'm explaining it to you, because you always get less with what they do. So again, that was a psychological attack, and it most likely had some nuisance stuff attached to it. This is not where I got the idea, because I was already made sick several times before I could make the connection. And this is how God kind of shows me that it's not my mind playing tricks on me. Although that's one of what they're trying to cause. They're trying to cause voices. They're trying to cause errant voices, and they're trying to cause the mind to play tricks on oneself. So they would say to discredit me, but again, they discredited me years ago. But they can't discredit me because they won't stop. If they would have stopped, they would have been able to discredit me because everybody buys into the money anyway. So again, they're just torturing me for criminal purposes, and it's not just. It's very unjust in reality, and I'll fix that. And whoever caused that just to be put there will suffer because that's what's just in their system, right? They hate when I laugh. It's like the insano laugh from Star Trek when everybody goes crazy. I don't know, that last part was someone else in my history. Out of here. So again, we're a collective of the community around us, and they know that. So what happens is they put their operators in, so you have nobody around you except their operators. And their operators are who? Criminals, sexualizers, perverts. And they could look like Mother Teresa and live like Mother Teresa. But in the mind, where does it sound? Does it sound familiar? Where does it sound like it comes from? Obviously, I've lived it real time, but where is it? In the Bible. But years ago, when I was in the Marshal Service, we used to have reading material that we'd take to the bathroom. Or if you were bored for a while, and you had to hang around, you grabbed like a Gall's catalog. At least this is what I did. Educated myself on equipment. But I grabbed this one catalog, and it had a section for private investigators. Publicly available. The intentions of the products were known. How did that get in there? It was designed to make people sick. Had gas, laxative effect, sick to the stomach. I can't even remember the number of illnesses it causes. So years later, I began figuring out, wait a minute, this is what they were using on me. Now, again, the effect of all that they're doing does cause deterioration of health. So again, it's not, I wouldn't say it's 50-50, but there's a mix in there. Now, they would say, well, of course, if we can cause deterioration of health, you should stop speaking. Has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with me committing a crime. In fact, it's the reverse. It has to do with me not committing a crime. And everything they're doing is attempting to force me to commit a crime. So what happens when Ames and Hansen were arrested, they became extremely paranoid. And then, and of course, there was billionaires and millionaires getting arrested, and they took over government. They made examples of Healy and Bustamante, and Jonathan Luna, and Assistant Director Dudley. But in doing that, the people that backfilled those positions were criminals, government criminals and private sector criminals that went into the government. The government's run by crime family children. Remember they made them lawyers and stuff? The first thing they did was make them lawyers. Then they made them marshals, SACs, directors, secretaries, presidents. Trump's an organized crime person. So again, if you go back to the 90s, we had this push for the children of they said, hey, we'll make our children lawyers, and we'll be defended for free. And of course, our children won't betray us. 100%, Larry. And I have to say, when I was going through the Marshal Service, in the beginning, I didn't notice it. But as time went on, I noticed that there was something wrong with some of my coworkers. At first, I accepted it as them razzing me. But what they were doing is they were preparing that Testing, testing, one, two, three, testing. Okay, I had to change out headphones. Something happened with the other ones. Could have been a hack, could have been something weird. So I noticed something strange. You got to have me buy 3 pair of headphones. I can't find one pair already. So, but it's been like that over the last 3 or 4 months. Remember, they're cursing everything I buy and everything I use. So, got to have me buy 3 before I started this. I wish my device had a 5.3 Bluetooth or whatever. I guess it's 5.3 Bluetooth. So I noticed something strange that it had moved past razzing. And that's what they try to do. Oh, he challenged them. They're just razzing. What they're doing is they're engaged in something they learned when they were children: how to be a criminal, how to be a criminal family. And their families were actually crime families, and some of them were part of the various mobs and mafias and street gangs. But yet, you can look at their record. What do you see? A perfectly clean record, right? The mobsters kept their record clean. They enforced their record clean. Still going on today, includes the cartels. The cartels, I'm convinced the cartels will even send loads and sacrificial lambs to be arrested to make their cronies look good, that let them deal the other narcotics. 100% sure. This is the worst of the worst of what anybody could say to the people that are involved in it. And even like people out here, there are people out here that are involved. People that moved into this community that live here. And they think they're like a ruler. That's what they tell them. And they tell them they're ruling me. They think they're rulers. Watch me rule them. And of course, the system will prop them up with money all the way through, because that's all it is. Really, is the idea that they have more money. And but what they really can't do is increase the availability of money. Only people such as myself can do that. And who am I? I'm just an honest person. Their operators lied to them. Their agents and officers lied to them because they know. I call it the quantum leap. They quantum leap to the ability to get into that person's life. And then by the time somebody goes, well, wait a minute, you said this about that guy and it's not true. But look over here. And then they do another few years of quantum leaping. And over here was the statements made by people that are part of the criminal enterprise, that are crime families. You have churches run by crime families. You have mosques run by crime families. You have countries run by crime families. Is Biden a crime family? Most likely, yes. Is Trump a crime family? Most likely, yes. I already told you Biden has CIA enforcers. He didn't want to stop them, that's fine. But we'll destroy the entire world and continue to do it. Now, individuals are still receiving blessings from me. That hasn't ceased. While we're here, the innocent people will be healed and blessed. Could there be a possibility I wasn't drugged? Very small. Could it be a possibility that it was somewhere else on a different day and that they entered my apartment on a different day? Yes. Could it be that they put it into the storage unit? Yes. But you're not going to control what I say. And I'll tell you the truth when we get around to it. I have to investigate it. But I was drugged. There's no doubt. I surmise that's why they were there, to see the effects of the drug. But it didn't hit till I left. It's most likely absorption. They did it to Jonathan Luna. I believe they did it to Jonathan Luna's lady friend, but she might be part of the entire thing by now. Again, they kill off a friend, and you can do great work if you just shut up and be part of this thing. But I surmise somebody had the hots for her, and that's why she was there to begin with. Well, in my life, well, she was Satan's bait woman for sure. But as far as being a quote unquote bait woman physical, I don't know. I mean, at a certain point, it turned into something like that. Maybe she had done that so long that she couldn't live a life without being a bait person. Is my voice still coming through? Hello, 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 hello. That's a little loud. What's going on there? Looks like it's getting louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. Let me take it down. Well, what I was going to do, I just got so busy. I downloaded the other audio to adjust it so it would sound better. No, it's sick people, man. I work with some very sick people. And no, it isn't the idea where you have to be that sick to save the world. Only as sick as I am. No, there's a Star Trek laugh. So let's see, is that better? I guess it's a little better volume. So again, we could never get the Bluetooth working. And now we did on a stream. It's only like tape quality, but when you stream up, on a regular internet, it's only a little bit better than that anyway. Actually, I take that back. If I were to use my 24-bit equipment, like the really better stuff, it would probably sound a lot. But generally, if you're on a mobile thing, that's where you're mostly at. So crime families took over the government. And now Trump wants to call Biden a crime family, and Biden wants to call Trump a crime family. Who do you think is calling them a crime family? God. Well, they didn't want to stop the deep state. Neither one. Trump's deep state, man. Trump, all you have to do is flash cash before Trump, and he comes running. The victims of the deep state usually don't have money. And there's Trump. I heard Trump inside. They're suckers. They usually don't have money. And somebody will pay if you let them trash that person in whatever way you want to trash them, including assassination and murder. Is anyone LAPD here? So you can figure out what they did to your officer? Or did to that person to get your officer killed? Remember there was this big drive that personal responsibility, and everybody knew there's the people saying it have zero personal responsibility. They're just the deep state. That was because I was releasing information, and I guess maybe others were also, about people being manipulated into crime. So there's a backstory to a lot of what's happened over the last 20, 30 years, as far as, the deep state, born that way. Because if they enforce militantly the idea of born that way, then what I'm telling you is not possible, right? But of course, everybody knows you can make somebody dead. Now remember, we got to the point, because there are people that are thinking through this somehow with me, whether it's inside, outside, or wherever side, that in the garden they were neither heterosexual nor LGBTQ, which we traditionally call homosexual. Now, I did speak to a lesbian massage therapist, and she called it homosex. She told me she was homosex. So again, I know that term is still used by some people. She was younger generation. If she was a good person, she would make a great wife. And I guess maybe for a woman she did. But, that's the weird part. A lot of the women that would make a great wife, they end up gay because Satan does that. Again, I'm not saying anything about being gay, but Satan's trying to kill traditional marriage, and Republicans are not trying to fix it either. They're trying to use it. Republicans are the reason traditional marriage doesn't succeed. It succeeds for them, right? That's their scam. And for their hardworking Americans and their Christian purity when it's all scam. I forget her name, but she was a really nice person. Hopefully, she didn't. They may have deep stated me there, but it wasn't like damaging deep state. Right. Well, because she had me go, she stopped working for that place, and maybe that's why she didn't work at that place because they couldn't use her as a deep stater. So she was working out of her aunt's place or something like that up by Espanola. So I would travel up there and see her. But boy, she would have made a great wife, and she was a very good-looking young lady. But I mean, a pleasant person. She seemed like she cared about people. I tried to help her, by going up there. And again, she was a good person, so I'm not going to say, oh yeah, well, I had to put up with that woman and go up there. The idea was that she deserved money. You know what I mean? So I went out of my way to go up there. I forget why I stopped going there. I can't even remember. I mean, they did so much psychological operation in my life. Like, oh my god! So for a while, I wasn't going to massage envy. I don't think that was after. I think it was before they lied about me and all that. And they tried sexualizing me. I do admit. I mean, I'm a man that hasn't been with a woman in how long? A woman can turn me on in a second because I'm a natural man. Right? I mean, it doesn't mean I'm going to run off and have sex with her. In fact, and I told you before, they're actually cross-wiring the original sexuality. And again, if you're a scientist, yeah, I'm fab scientist, whether they agree to it or not. If you're a scientist, you can actually look at what they're calling pansexual, this sexual, that. It's all cross-wiring. They're not allowing natural sexuality, but that doesn't mean anything about the person that's cross-wired, unless they're doing that to someone else. And generally, I don't think so. Okay. Well, that's why it's being embraced at the level it's being embraced. And I'm not saying that I'm not even speaking about like standard being gay or anything like that. But again, it gets really wild out there when you look at all of it. But what God's doing also is showing what they're doing. Again, like I said, to God, it's all metaphysics and science. It's physical. Or not physical, but I think it's metaphysical, not really physical. So what that does is it shows exactly what they're doing in their minds, but it gets all jumbled. Again, it's like Mickey Mouse. So they projected all of this alternative sexuality for the simple reason of discriminating against the person that was moved into the alternative sexuality. That's where it all came from. Am I still being heard? Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to walk over to my computer. It's a little loud. Hey, this is annoying. I don't know. Maybe they're messing with it. It keeps getting loud and quieter. I guess it's not the best sound control here. Actually, let me see what settings I have on. I have auto gain. Hello, how are you? Oh, that went really loud. All right, how you doing? That's still a little loud. Well, there's an outside chance that that woman was simply operated and she has that stuff in her head and she didn't. Because I saw a couple of things that could trigger somebody that was trans. But again, I mean, you have to speak English. I fight it all day long because I'm a pretty big target of these people. Oh, wait a minute, it's not on the right. It's supposed to be on headset. I don't know if you were hearing me or not at this point. They might be hacking me. I'll go through it and see if you heard it. Testing, testing, testing. Hello, 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 hello. So I'm trying to see if you heard me. It's a little low. We'll just leave it at that. So when they bring up all these sexual terms, for me, it's very interesting because metaphysically, that's showing what God and I had suspected all along, that it's this wiring and this cross wiring, and it just intersects here. So they're not even in control of sexuality anymore, and that's when you get people like what's his name, CPAC man, Max Schlatt. It got him. I mean, to the point where he grabbed the guy's thing. And you don't know how many times that happens in a day in my head. I go, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to a gay bar and grab a guy's thing. Like, okay, Deep State, yeah, that sounds great. What else should I do? Oh, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. No trans women, just men, right? That's what they do to me all day. That's the government and their private sector criminal cronies. And the church is included. Thank you, Larry. What are we going to do after that? Oh, maybe we can, like, strangle somebody. They haven't gone there yet. Because they're trying to do the sexual thing first. I think that's their progression. Right. They have to get me to act out physically, sexually somehow. And then I think they would do the other thing. They tried suicide, all sorts of stuff. No, it's your head, Larry. There's nobody else in there, Larry. Do you hear me, Larry? Larry, can you hear me? It's only you, Larry. You're the only one in there. So, yeah, I suspect. Now, again, I suspect that officer was executed. So, well, what does that mean? Okay, Satan wants him executed. It starts there. So, in California, LA, that guy that did it, they hate him too. Satan hates him too. No matter if he's the most evil person in the world that you've ever seen. Go back to Jesus. Go back to the man who dwelled with the legion of demons. Jesus and him were widely related by the end of that thing because it wasn't his fault. But there's those out there that wanted that officer dead. There's out there that wanted that guy maybe dead or in prison or whatever. Again, dead isn't California murder because they don't have a death penalty, and I don't agree to death penalty because why would we do that? We're trying to get away from killing people. It makes no sense because killing is killing. In the metaphysical world, killing is killing. If you justify killing, somebody else will justify killing for another reason, and you're the same thing moving forward, even though you don't agree to their reason. You've opened the door to a reasoning to kill someone. Now, again, self-defense, war, that's wrong too, but I understand the application. Okay, Orange. No, they're not trying to help me. They're not trying to keep the community safe. Not doing any of it all. Even if they said 10 years ago they saw it, a case where they did it, or 2 years ago, or even in my life, because it's bullshit. I had no physical interaction with almost anybody in reality. I was just sexualized. I was isolated, sexualized, and manipulated, but never did anything that they wanted me to do in reality. Although I did investigate some things that it appeared they wanted me to investigate. They came along again, and I guess they tear you down so they can get you to do something. So I investigated some things and turned it into the FBI, but then they tried to turn it around on me. Because I thought that's who was communicating with me, that or DHS. I wasn't sure. And they may have been there. I was almost sure they were there. I felt the presence. Yeah, it's sick. It's the sickest thing. And they don't even care because they're so full of shit in their mind that they're saving the world and have saved the world that they don't care. And again, some of them are running from the crimes they committed for the deep state. Oklahoma, shitty. Getting involved again, shitty. Remember, that guy's probably innocent of those crimes or they caused him to do it. Which in God's world, he would be innocent of those crimes. Who's the officer over there? Daniel, his uncle, his father's uncle, his father's name is Lieutenant Holtzclaw. See, if I can't remember Daniel's name, I think of his father. So Lieutenant Holtzclaw's son, Daniel Holtzclaw, may not have committed those crimes. It may have been flim-flam DNA. but he may have done it. And again, we get to the idea that the officer was manipulated. Uh, if we look at uh, if we look at territory that the drug cartels own, where Lieutenant Holtzclaw works it's a little safer. I don't know about today, but back when, that may have been what they used to take over the city. They could have feared every cop that they would be like Daniel Holtzclaw if they didn't listen to the cartel and allow the cartel to do their business, which includes white people also that are moving narcotics. And there are rich white people that are moving narcotics, rich black people. Again, it's not just Latinos. So he may have been sexualized. I had the program done to me for 30 years, at least. So again, he may have been sexualized, isolated, and twisted. Again, when you're looking at the operation, we're talking about CIA stuff. An individual being isolated and most likely also surreptitiously drugged, being operated at CIA level, even if it's a private sector CIA. They're all in it together, they're criminals. But they're saving the world! I'm just waiting for Saudi Arabia to pay me for all the help I gave them, instead of paying to the people that attacked me. Well, we'll just play it. We'll play it your way. You prayed to God, all of you, for something. If God sends this man or that woman, then you got to pay that woman and that man. My help could have been for free, but of course, on this planet, nothing's for free, right? You always say that, right? So we'll just rule with your rule. So again, the guy that attacked the police officer may have been operated. They make a lot of money to do it. Who knows what he saw? Who knows who hates his family? Who knows who hates him? He may have had a girlfriend one time that a CIA officer wanted, or that a cartel member wanted, same thing, and they would attack him for it and destroy his life. They're that sick. I surmise that John Luna's girlfriend had boyfriends or close people that wanted to be boyfriends in Silicon Valley. I believe at the level of psychosis. And I don't believe she was the only one. No, people like Musk and all those people were invading our privacies and destroying our lives based upon weird shit like that. We already know who Microsoft was, but no, I'm not going to sit here and go after Gates more than anyone else because he's the whipping boy because he won't be deep state or something like that. It's actually great that we have the information about Bill Gates and his entity, so we know what Google's like, so we know what X and Twitter are like, we know what Facebook is like, instead of their bullshit that they force on everyone. And that young lady, that's a service to God, tell you the truth. That young lady who was pushed off of Facebook, and then the only way to get back on was to have sex with one of their employees. That's what it's really about, man. The rest is bullshit. Now the FBI's fine with it because then they come in, hey, give me that $1 million job. That big home on the beach there. Well, I have to say that it was kind of small time when it started, and as far as expanding in the '90s with the tech industry, but I'm sure it's huge now. So what I was reminded, I have investigators in my mind, sometimes real ones, not all of you, real ones. Even if you're an FBI, if you're one of these pieces of shit, you're not a real investigator. You're a piece of shit. If that's why you're a piece of shit, deserve death for the murders you committed. However, everyone else, and again, I mean death through their system of death penalty. So again, they should be ruled by their own rules, and they're extrajudicial. death penalty. They have extrajudicial death. But I have investigators that are constantly filling me in. They say, remember, Larry. And what am I doing by walking back and forth? Am I pacing out of control as you would write this up? No, I'm out here on the deck now, seeing how my memory is out here. Now I'm walking into my apartment. I'm walking to this point to see how my memory is here. And then I'm walking into my bedroom to see how my memory is here. One of the reasons I tell you to take the presidents out of the White House to other places and test their cognitive ability in the different locations. Although it could be metaphysical, it could be physical in other ways. They say, Larry, remember, you were looking for code. You were writing code. You were an out deputy U.S. Marshal who wasn't allowed to even breathe in reality. Those people in the tech industry would want to destroy you. You're a government person that they have no connection with that was teaching yourself how to write code, computer code. They're that sick. And the other things I was doing to better improve the world. We investigate several types of crime. What they try to say, I was stalking the people that were stalking me. Why? Because they're all connected to the criminal enterprise. But yet I never followed a single one of them. All I did is swing around once to a woman who was already stalking me and working for the criminal operators and psychologically operating me. I turned around once. She didn't get out of her car. And when I passed by, so I kept going because I was going to say hi. But it was most likely a bait type of thing. See, in my mind, it's something innocent. Oh, there's that woman. Let me go say hi to her. Oh, because you're showing distress. They know my weakness is another person showing distress. Just like the other day, the woman was like, I need to find my dog. And I'm in the middle of a move. I stopped my move and helped her find her dog. I probably did more in finding her dog than she did. So again, they're throwing away the norms of psychology. They're throwing away the reality of psychology. They're throwing away psychology, any psychology that could be, and putting in criminal bullshit. Criminal psychotic bullshit and calling it psychology. But how do they do that? With the tech billionaires' money. Because they're interested in the same thing because they're all criminals. They're all devils. Own the church and call yourself righteous. Great idea. Been tried before. They're all in hell and you'll be there next. So you sound agitated, Larry. Then don't agitate Larry. How about that? I mean, again, psychology. Let's talk about psychology. You agitate somebody no matter what you call it. And no, you don't have to be a criminal to be agitated by it. Right. Thank you, Lars. And then you want to say the person's agitated. Wow, it's a lizard here in Kansas? Dude, I wish I could have saved your life. So it was like, it looked like a chameleon almost. It's around my deck. Maybe I'll be able to get it. Make it a pet. It ain't going to survive the winter. Where haven't seen those? In Florida, you have to, like, when you're riding a bicycle, you have to, like, steer away from them. Not they just iguanas. They got the little lizards, like chameleons or something. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Yeah, I'm evil. But actually, Srila Prabhupada, the leader of the modern Hare Krishnas, and of course he passed away in like 76 or something, but he said that this planet is inherently, I'm paraphrasing, he didn't exactly say it like this, but essentially it's evil, it's murderous, and you can't get away with killing without killing something. He says when you walk down the street, you kill an insect. So again, he's part of what God's doing, right? Trying to figure out what's going on here, speaking the truth. Again, it just got louder again. And they must be hacking it. It could be on the server side. I mean, could be a small reason that it's just something happening, but that jumped a whole bunch. So it'll probably take a couple of days for me to return to normal. It was most likely in the creamer, but it could have been touch. And touch, usually I'll do some cleaning in here, clean the van, that kind of thing. I'm all prepared to lose $600, but I'll tell you right now, if you're planning to steal my $600 over there in America, extended state America, it's already moving. God's already destroying you, your families, your health, your money. I'm not extorting you. I'm using the system that you use. Apparently, you're in with somebody, and it worked out for you. So you cost a poor man $600, and you get to have it. Well, that's the way it is, sucker. So again, when you go to a business like Extended Stay America, if this turns out the way it looks like it's going to turn out, because the bank will probably be putting it on also, they're just the same as Trump. We're all suckers. What am I doing? I'm destroying the world. I already told you that. I'm a very honest person. And I'm equalizing everything, so you're affected by the curses also. Unreversed. Again, they have your rubber arm glue on. What you say bounces off me, sticks to you. Unreversed. That's all you do. If you feel like you're or the things you say about them is being put back on, because you'll see me a certain way, but it won't be true. So the government is run by crime families, and they are rather psychotic in government and outside of government. Elon Musk has people that he's connected to in government. Donald Trump has people he's connected to in government. Liberal, what's the liberal's name? Jack has people that he's connected to. So again, they have armies of government people. What Garland is telling you, it's partially truthful, but not entirely truthful. Now he's saying he personally was appalled at what happened. Now I think there were mitigating circumstances, though. I don't think Garland understands. I mean, the FBI people may have had ill intention, but I see it honest, which is weird because they weren't attacking Catholicism. They were theoretically, maybe they wrote it wrong. I think I said I found that it was written a little bit too gruffly or too callously. Right. I know what word I use. You can't. It's kind of like you were speaking. You get into the point where you're playing favoritism. Well, they're Catholics going to church, so therefore, because we find indications of radicalized behavior that we don't investigate, that we don't warn the world that something could be happening there. Again, we did it years ago with Islam. We can do it with Catholics. And in reality, I think they're really out of the majority of what Catholics, well, I guess what God would consider Catholics. Again, the idea is that you don't cast stones, you don't tear down, especially as a power person. I'm going to go back to what sets the field, because you say, what about you? What about if you have much is expected. If you have little is expected. And many of us haven't even got to the point of being considered having little because we have no life. Yeah, they watch every day to destroy my life, destroy a friendship, and I really don't care because they're going to hell, their family's in hell, and like I tell you, because I want to hit it home to every one of you agents, that FBI agent that was shot in Miami trying to arrest oh my God, it's a pedophile. I mean, it's that big of a joke today. Oh my God, it's another pedophile. Is it or isn't it? We don't know. You all screwed that truth up. 100%. But if she was sexualizing, because that office did engage in sexualization while I was in Florida, big sexualization, huge sexualization against a man in his prime looking for an adult woman to marry. And hopefully a way back to the church and that kind of life or whatever religion I could find my way into comfort. I'd rather be there with a woman because then the other shit doesn't get in there. If she was part of that, then she's in hell. Now, I think if she didn't do that kind of stuff, she would agree. No, we have out and out pedophiles paying private eyes and cops to attack non-pedophiles, and if they can, turn them into a pedophile. Again, the ultimate projection. Not only do they project that other people are pedophiles, they psychologically torture and psychologically operate against their victim being anything other than a sex criminal or a pedophile, and then say that's what they are. Everybody say, here's some money, here's some money. You say it now. Here's some money, you say it. That's what the informant program is. The rest is bullshit anymore. Here's some money, say what we say, tell you to say. Do they directly say that? No, but the veiled language is what it is. Again, also activity. If you don't say what they want, then you don't work for Massage Envy, you're gone. So I have no idea if she's a bait woman or not. She's not a good bait woman if she was. I mean, in the sense of what you want a bait woman to be. But if she was a bait woman, she was a real bait woman, and she wasn't a bad person. As far as being a corrupt bait person, which I don't think exists. I think, like with her, they fired her or something like that, or she couldn't work there anymore. Whatever. They could have made her as an example. Either you do what we say and say what we tell you to say about somebody, or you won't have a job. Massage Envy's bullshit. Bullshit criminal. I suspect it's a CIA front business, or maybe even GRU, FSB, KGB oligarch front business. I went in there for physical therapy. You tried to turn it into a sexualization extravaganza, trying to get me to make some move. And when I didn't make the move, they make up some other bullshit. I was forever changed based upon your sexualization in each location. Even if you're a simple bait woman, you're in an operation that isolates a man from anything normal, anything social, anything marriage. Oh no, there are people out there today that raped 50 children last week at some party in France, and they're running around New York City today, and they're going to go meet the mayor. The mayor doesn't give a shit. He's a crooked cop anyway. Just trying to be nice to him. Playing a game like he's a good liberal. Well, stay peaceful. I got to get some other work done here. Praise God and all